Then, she gives advice to Becky, saying love is a battlefield. During their meeting at work, Richard tells them about their low sales, so they must redesign. Although the other employees are mad at having to change despite being copied on, Jenna says it's their chance to have fun. Thus, Richard assigns Jenna and Lucy to develop a new design. After the meeting, Arlene gives Jenna's messages, but all she hears are nasty messages from her rivals. In her office, Arlene tries to forward her a call from Alex, but Jenna is adamant about avoiding him. Just then, her colleague's husband, Pete, asks to see her, so she lets him in. Left alone, Pete immediately initiates a kiss, so Jenna pushes him away, reminding him that he's married. However, Pete reveals that it didn't stop them from hooking up last week. When Pete tries to convince her further, Jenna kicks him in the groin before walking away. In the hallway, Jenna overhears Lucy ridiculing her in her new act, plotting to work on a design without her. Heartbroken, Jenna walks away as Lucy declares that she'll make her own presentation and let Jenna fall by herself. Lonely in her apartment, Jenna walks to Matt's and invites him for a walk. That evening, Jenna asks whether Wendy is Matt's soulmate. However, Matt doesn't believe in such things. Jenna then asks why they never stayed friends. So Matt recounts how, after the 7 Minutes in Heaven disaster, he played a birthday song for Jenna, but she just threw the dollhouse at him. Jenna apologizes, but Matt says it doesn't matter anymore. Feeling guilty, Jenna tells him to stop being nice because her adult self isn't a good person. Upset, Jenna walks away. The next day, she goes back to her family home. Finding no one there, Jenna goes straight to the basement closet and sits on the same spot she did on her 13th birthday, before banging her back on the shelf. When her parents get home, they hear Jenna in the basement. Seeing them, Jenna cries and hugs her dad, saying she missed them. Unable to sleep in the stormy night, Jenna hops in bed with her parents. The next day, Jenna asks if her mom has anything in her life that she'd like to do over. Her mom says she doesn't regret anything, since if she hadn't made mistakes, she wouldn't have learned how to make things right. Back at her apartment, Jenna looks through their yearbook again and sees that Matt took most of the photos. With an idea in mind, Jenna spends a whole day in the office planning her redesign. On the way out, she comes across Lucy, who claims she was trying to get a hold of Jenna even though Jenna didn't get any messages. Lucy tells her that she wanted to discuss their plans for the redesign, but then reveals that she's working on her own thing. Unfazed, Jenna says she's doing the same thing. At the park the next day, Jenna surprises Matt with a job offer to be Poise's photographer for a week. When Matt points out that his style is different from Poise's, Jenna says that's exactly the point. Gathering models in school-themed outfits, Jenna and Matt have a fun time photographing for the magazine, before joining a dance later that evening. Over the week, Matt spearheads a photo shoot with a Class of 2004 theme. Afterward, they look over the photos, happy with the results. While working on the photos late at night, Matt starts having second thoughts about getting close to Jenna, so he excuses himself. However, Jenna suddenly gets a craving for Razzles, so they go out to get the candy. Hanging out like when they were younger, Matt gets nostalgic and tells Jenna that he enjoyed working with her. She then tells Matt that he's the sweetest guy she's ever known. This gives Matt a confidence boost, so he challenges her to a swing competition, seeing whoever can jump farthest. They up the stakes, betting that whoever loses will owe the other a drink and dinner to celebrate the redesign being chosen. When they jump off the swings, they end up rolling next to each other. Matt rolls over to get up, but ends up leaning in to kiss Jenna. Later, Jenna shares all the details with Becky and her friends during a sleepover, who fawn over the romantic story. However, she adds that her and Matt's situation is complicated. The girls comment that at least she has someone to dream about, since boys their age aren't interested in them. To boost their confidence, Jenna initiates a dance party with them. The next day, someone covers Matt's eyes from behind, and when he turns, he's surprised to see Wendy, not knowing she was coming home. While having lunch, Wendy says they should fix the location issue, but Matt isn't paying attention. On the other hand, Richard confronts Jenna, confused about why they're presenting separate redesigns. As he panics over the situation, Jenna and Arlene head out to prepare their presentation. During Lucy's presentation, she describes her idea as something that'll kill from chicness. When she asks for Richard's opinion, he just shuts the laptop and closes his eyes. While Lucy throws a fit outside, Jenna presents her redesign, something that brings authenticity back into the magazine. Instead of showing models, she suggests changing them into real women who are happy to be who they are, telling everyone that they need to remember what used to be good. Everyone applauds her presentation, and Richard goes for a hug, choosing Jenna's idea to show to corporate. Jenna excitedly leaves the building just as Matt arrives. Meanwhile, Lucy snoops around Jenna's office and finds mail from Sparkle. Thus, she gives the rival magazine a call. When Matt gets to Jenna's office, he comes across Lucy instead. telling him that Jenna's planning to go for a more established photographer. After getting ready, Jenna goes to Matt's apartment, not minding the rain. She gets there soaking wet, only to be greeted by Wendy. Jenna wants to tell Matt that everybody loved his photos, so Wendy says she'll pass on the message because Matt is getting his tux ready for their wedding tomorrow. The next day, Jenna practices the pitch for her new redesign for corporate, but Richard announces that it's over because Lucy took all of Jenna's new ideas to Sparkle in exchange for them making her the new editor-in-chief. Although Jenna argues that Lucy doesn't have the rights to Matt's pictures, Richard shows her that Lucy was able to make Matt sign a photography release. Angered, she confronts Lucy in her office, but Lucy calls her a hypocrite. She shows Jenna her mail from Sparkle, revealing that Jenna was the mole who ratted out her own company's design idea so that she could be editor-in-chief at Sparkle. Now, Lucy has taken the spot she betrayed her magazine for, leaving Jenna defeated. Going outside the building, Jenna sees Matt's work on a bus for a Sparkle advertisement, making her cry. She hails a cab but recognizes her driver as Chris, her old crush. During the drive, Chris keeps trying to get together with Jenna, reminiscing about old times. Tired of him, Jenna rushes out of the cab into Matt's family home, where the wedding is being prepared. Sneaking into his room, Jenna confronts Matt and clears up Lucy's lies. Mournfully, she tells him that she's no longer the awful person she was. She confesses to hoping Matt will also recognize that and won't be marrying someone else. Matt admits that he felt something that he didn't know he could feel anymore when he spent time with her. However, they can't turn back time. They moved on from each other and into separate lives. So now, he chooses to be with Wendy, who actually cares about him. Seeing her cry, Matt opens his closet and gives her the dollhouse he made when they were 13, which he tried to repair. Happily, Jenna asks to keep it. She then urges him to go to his wedding, assuring him that her tears are tears of joy because she wants Matt to be happy. Before Jenna leaves, Matt also confesses that he's always loved her. Walking out, Jenna sits on their porch and listens to the wedding. As she misses her old life when she had her best friend, she wishes to the dollhouse once more, hoping it'd take her back. The wind blows on the wishing dust, and Jenna wakes up back in the basement closet on her 13th birthday. Just as Matt opens the door, Jenna jumps to kiss him before pulling him away. When she comes across Tom Tom on the stairs, Jenna rips the report in her hands and tips her drink to spill on her dress. Years later, Jenna and Matt get married and soon move into their dream home, which they make to be like Jenna's dollhouse. While taking a break from moving furniture, they sit on the couch and happily eat Razzles together.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.